Hi, teammates. This is Sean J. McCall, and I am your host once again for this edition of Let's Talk. And we're going to get right into it. I'm not going to do a whole lot of big intros and stuff like that. I'm going to get my guest in right now who is patiently waiting for me to connect. And make sure I'm good on that end. Let's see. Yep, there he goes.
What's up, man? How you
Yes,
doing?
sir. What's good, man?
It's good. Uh,
I appreciate you taking some time out of your busy day back home to give us some gems, some drop some gems, and let us know a little bit more about you. Can you do me a quick favor and just introduce yourself really fast, and then we're going to just get right into it.
no, yeah, I'm Jehyve Floyd. I'm from New Jersey. I'm a 6-year pro. I played in Germany. I played in Greece, Israel, Turkey, and I just got finished in Japan. So
Okay. Um, so we're gonna go back a little bit for the first segment, which is called "Let's Talk Hoops," and go through a little bit your journey. Um, so went to college at Holy Cross. You've now ended your sixth season in Japan. Um, when you finished at Holy Cross, did you have any NBA aspirations, or were you already destined to go to Europe?
yeah, I had NBA aspirations, but I didn't get a lot of traction.
Mhm.
I didn't get invited to um, what's that called, the PIT or anything
The
like
Portsmouth International.
Portsmouth. Yeah, I didn't get invited to any of that. I've had agents come to my games just talking overseas,
Mhm.
so I'm more of a realistic person. And at the time, honestly, I wasn't as confident in basketball, so I wasn't really expecting um, any NBA interest. But I did train for it, and then nothing happened, so then I went overseas. Yeah.
How was the agent's selection process for you?
Uh, Um, it was like choosing like an AAU team or something like that. I played AAU for like 1 year, so I was only there for a little bit. I felt like recruiting. I meant like recruiting again. Trying to gauge what agent fit right for me.
Mhm.
But I think what lead me to the dude I went to, his name Rob Falk. They had a summer program where I can go to Myrtle Beach and train,
Mhm.
like for the whole summer. So it had more structure, and I knew and once I was in an environment, like an NBA type of environment, basketball environment, I feel like I would get better there and get prepared for overseas. So I think I went with him because of that.
How many agents were interested in you back then?
Um, there was a few. I think it was my top two was JCK, and then at the time it was sports law.
Mhm.
But it was a couple. It was the other couple, but those are the two that were very much so like they wanted me. They showed interest and they were calling me every week. But it was a
Right.
bunch. It was a bunch of them, like maybe 7 or 8, something like
Good.
that.
Good. Did you have like set questions that you wanted to know, or was it more just the feel of your stomach instinct kind of thing?
So I pretty much asked like the alumni that went to my school about the process, and they kind of helped me out. I don't know. There's Malcolm Miller. He graduated from my school. Dave Dzinski. They're still playing. And Torrey Thomas. He's like the OG. So pretty much I was vetting the questions to them, and then whatever
Right.
question they told me to ask him, I asked him. Then I give them the answer, and they're like, "Oh nah, like you're good with that guy. Like he's not the good guy for you." And then they were pretty much helping me through the process. Like I was like using their knowledge about the overseas more so than I didn't know anything about
Mhm.
it. So yeah,
That's dope because not a lot of players have OGs or old heads that they can turn to when they're leaving college because not a whole lot of players are then going overseas in
right.
theory. But that's good that you had someone behind you that could help you out and answer questions. So playing in countries like Greece, Turkey, Japan must have been really eye-opening. What's the hardest part for you with this overseas basketball lifestyle?
I think at first was just adjusting to the game of basketball. I think I'm a late bloomer when it comes to
Mhm.
basketball. So I think my first season I realized I didn't know too much about it. I mean, we played zone in college. We played. the Princeton offense, so going and playing
Mhm.
pick and roll defense, playing pick and roll offense. I didn't know anything. Like literally, it was bad. I was asking questions. They were looking at me like, "What? You don't know this?" I'm like, "You didn't watch my film? Like I wasn't doing this." You know what I'm saying? Like, so that was a big learning curve for me. I think going from Germany to Greece was obviously one of the top, two like one of the top competitive leagues,
Mhm.
and you just get thrown straight in there because your body type. Mentally, I wasn't there, like to be able to like adapt right away.
Mhm.
Um, and besides that, obviously just like the culture shock of everything, and
Right.
I haven't been. I played in Ireland my junior year. We had a tournament there, but outside of that, I wasn't familiar with Europe or anything like that. So it felt like I just got thrown to the wolves, and now I had to just figure it out
Learning by doing.
for sure.
Um, I'm going away from my script right now, but you spoke about Germany. Did you actually play in Germany? I thought that you signed in Ludwigsburg but never came.
Yeah, I had. Yeah, no, I actually came. I went. I signed a 2-year deal there, and then going through training camp. But they also had like a walk on as well, so it was like seven of us or something like that, seven imports. And obviously I was struggling, just trying to adapt to it. And then the walk on ended up being later on the MVP of the league, Jalen Smith. So
Oh,
the
you were
guy
there with Jalen.
I
I've
was
also interviewed Jalen.
yeah, yeah. So I was
Jalen's
there with Jalen.
my guy.
And then so pretty much he took my spot. So there was a loophole in my contract. It was like because I didn't have my agent didn't have a German agent signed or things like
Right,
that.
right,
He was
right,
able to void the
right,
contract. So it was kind of a tricky
right.
situation. And then yeah, I
And
was there for training camp for a month and a half, and
and then
then
you went to Greece.
yeah.
Okay, got you. Um, what advice would you give someone to help them adapt quickly and build chemistry with new teammates? Because you've pretty much done it every year.
Mhm.
How is it for you adjusting to new teammates?
I'm a people person, so it's kind of like easy for me. I think now it is because I'm not. I'm pretty much sure within my basketball self where I'm like
Mhm.
I'm not trying to like we're not competing for minutes here. It's
Right,
like you do this, I do that. Like we're gonna figure it out type thing. But I think when you first, I think everyone has a mindset when you first come, you want to prove yourself immediately, and sometimes that can come off like you don't want to get too
yeah,
close to somebody yet until you're there. So I would say like I think you have to have a balance. Like we're on the court, okay, prove yourself. Like, off the court, get to know them, ask questions. Because I got a lot of OGs that helped me throughout. I learned from whatever they were doing and learned from what they weren't doing. You know what I'm saying? So I think just being observant, asking questions, because I feel like it was so many guys ready to like like give me all the knowledge. Like so, like whatever going somewhere, I'm like, yo, can I come with you? Can I come with you? So it's just being open and just
right.
being like, because I'm usually an introvert. I've grown to be an extrovert. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
So I think you knowing yourself and knowing what's best for you. Yeah, I think that'll help.
Has the overseas basketball experience helped bring you from being an introvert, your natural state, to someone who is more open? Did that have something to do with it?
No, for sure. I think obviously you have to learn how to be around people you don't in a way have some similarities with, and you try to start picking up on like it's like I don't know the language, but I know I can read body
Vibes.
language now. Yeah, I can read, but I can know what they said, but I don't know. I can't translate it.
Right.
So
Right.
I think I've just learned. I've been more like observant people, like people watching a lot.
Mhm.
Understand communicating without saying words. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? And then just me now. I just was in Japan. I was just trying to learn Japanese, not as much like studying, but I'll ask questions to my team like, "What does that mean?"
Mhm.
And then I'll just pick up on it and try to talk to them in that language. And
Right.
that is always funny. Like there's a laugh. Like I'm trying to figure it out. So I would just say being open. I think traveling has just made me like more open minded.
Yeah. Yeah. I totally feel you on that. So you started your career out in mainly in Europe, and you moved to Japan. Was that a conscious effort or a conscious decision to move outside of Europe to another type of basketball, another type of culture, or was it kind of a coincidence?
Nah, so I've been hearing so much about the Asian market for big men the last couple of
Mhm.
years, and
Mhm.
obviously with my injuries, I weren't able to like make that move. But I think coming back from injury, the money for a big man, a big man is more valuable in Asia in my
Right.
situation then. So I pretty much was open to moving. They always told us like if you go to Asian, Asia is gonna mess up your European like your career path
Hmm.
in a way. So I wanted to like make sure my career path in Europe was fine before I wanted to make that move. But nowadays it's different.
It's different now, yeah. It's
Yeah,
much different. It used to be you had to choose, okay, if you're gonna go to Japan, you're gonna be there forever
right.
and you can never go to Europe.
Yeah,
But now those things have kind of meshed and the seasons are also running at kind of different times to make that option available and you can leave sometimes and come back to Europe. So things are a little bit different now. But um I got one more question about on the basketball point. Um, you played for Fenerbahce, and obviously Fenerbahce played in the Euro League and won the championship this year. How did it feel to witness one of your former clubs winning it all? And is there anybody still there from your time there?
yeah, for sure. That's how. Again, I was watching it because I still have teammates there. Deshaun Pierre was one of
Ah,
my
okay.
teammates, still a good friend, great friend, honestly. So I was happy to see him when he's been there for five
Yeah,
years.
yeah.
I was happy to see him be able to accomplish that because it's been a long road. I always said Fenerbahce invested so much into their program. I've been wanting to win for the last couple of years. Like that organization is top notch professional.
Mhm,
I enjoy my time there. I love the people there. Even the management's still there. So
mhm.
it's happy. I'm happy to see them.
Good,
Able to accomplish that. So it was dope for sure.
good. Okay, before we move on to the next subject of off the court, if any of you out there would like to ask a question for my guest, please feel free to throw it in the comment box at the bottom of your screen, and I will try to get to it. So now we're going to move off the court. Um, Talk a little bit about language barriers. You spoke a little bit about it before, about wherever you've been, or at least in Japan, you've tried to learn a little bit of the language. Do you ever have any funny stories about miscommunication or something like that because of due to the language barriers?
In what way?
Any kind of funny story that maybe you misunderstood something or language was the reason why a funny situation happened?
Mm, I think the funniest just this just happened. Like so, pretty much what we do like in the locker room, we'll play like American music pretty much.
Mhm.
But sometimes, like they'll give us like this season, they'll give us the aux, and then we'll just play our music. And then after a while, you start like they start catching on because we're playing the same song, like to get hyped for the games. And then like one day, we were all singing, trying to get hyped for the game, and then um, one of our Japanese guys, he just started like singing it, like we was like, but you don't speak English, how do you know the word? And then another one was right before pregame, our uh, coach was like trying to hype us up, whatever, like that. And he gave like he wrote it down because this is one young Japanese. He only can read it. He can't like speak it.
Mhm.
And then it was like he said, "Jin, read this." He was like, "Let's effing go!" And then everybody gets like, yeah, that was hilarious. But yeah, pretty much those are
Dope,
the ones I remember right now, at
dope.
least.
So I've got two questions I want to ask you from the people out there. One of my players right now, Jonathan. How old were you when you started playing basketball?
Uh, I would say seriously, I would say like 13. Like obviously, we all played
Mhm.
basketball growing up and like
Yeah, yeah.
different year. But I played a couple of sports. I played football and then I played volleyball as well. So I would like through seasons I would go volleyball, football, or basketball. And then when I broke my wrist in football, I just said, I'm gonna just stick to basketball. And that's when I got taller anyway. So it all worked out.
How tall are you?
I'm 6'8".
Okay. Um, what's the biggest transition to playing overseas that was different than in the US? What are the best transferable or translatable skills to keep a job? That's a good question.
That is a great question. I guess the first question was my biggest transition playing
Yeah.
overseas. Um, I think just playing at a certain pace, or how would I say, like it's more tactical. Like the
Right.
countries I played in, more tactical. It's like Greece. For you to even like succeed. Because I've seen a lot of like going to Greece. It was like I've seen a lot of guys that were killing, but I feel like they weren't better than me, but they knew mentally what to do at
Mhm,
the time, and I
mhm,
really picked up on that as time went on. But I would say like reading pick and roll, like pretty much like as a big man, you need to know if they're showing, then you know if they're in a drop, or you know if they're like at the level of the ball screen. That's how you know like how you're able to get the advantage. Whether you need to hold the screen, you need to tap and go, or you need to slip out
mhm.
and get the
Yeah.
short roll. And honestly, I didn't know what that was going. I mean, I didn't. We didn't do that. And again, I played Princeton, so we weren't doing
Right.
that. So I think that translates everywhere. And I think to the second, to the last question, the um the best skill I think is just defense.
Mhm,
I think I have a job every year because I'm an energy guy.
mhm.
I know my role. I'm there to play defense. I'm be a terrorist on the defensive end, and that gives me a job. Everybody needs that now. And obviously the game is changing nowadays, where everybody wants a guy who could shoot and do X, Y, and Z. But at the end of the day, we need stops in the fourth quarter.
Yes.
Like
Yes.
I can switch 1 through 5, so it's like I really you could put me anywhere and I can still like impact the game. So
I totally get that, and I mean we're the same height. I'm 6'8" as well, but I'm a this 6'8", this
gotcha.
skinny 6'8". So
Right.
I played 1 through 5, right?
Yeah.
So that I think the defensive part is something that's I would say undervalued these days,
Yes.
but there's
Absolutely.
still a market for those who can adapt and play defense in different systems, but have a defensive core about them. There's still a huge market for that.
Right.
So,
But you can tell the difference between my first 3 years to the
uh,
last. I used to have a job immediately in summertime. Boom. They need a big man who can protect the rim, switch 1 through 5.
mhm.
Now it's like kind of slow. You're kind of like waiting around. Like it's like you're not a priority as much now because
Right,
there's a bunch of us
right,
guys coming from the NBA, stuff like
right.
that. So it's like still a market for it, but you got to like wait. You can't just take whatever nowadays. You have to like let me see the team how's it gonna fit. You know,
You have to do much more insight
yeah,
checking, fact
yeah,
checking. Is this a good fit for me or not? Because
right.
you can go to a club, make a lot of money, and it just be a horrible fit.
Or and then your next year is going to be all messed up because it's like
Right,
your numbers weren't as good.
right.
That's kind of like so even in my Japan, I went to a team and it wasn't a good fit, and then I went to another team. This other team I was with, they brought rocket robots, and I didn't have a point guard the whole year, so I had to like kind of adjust my game
Mhm,
on the fly. And at first I
mhm,
was struggling, but eventually I got it. But it's just like that. Like now I know I need a point guard. I need a point guard who can
mhm,
play. You know what I'm saying?
mhm. Yeah. One more question, kind of a layered question, no need to answer, but you will answer. How were you treated as a black man in these countries?
Honestly, in Japan, I we got so much love. They treated us like we were like LeBron. Like it was like even a win or lose, they just love you. Like they love you to your like love you just to love you, whatever. But I think in Europe it's different. Like um, I wouldn't say as like a black man. I think after the winning and losing part. So if you're winning, they love you. If you're losing, that's when the racist stuff come out. You know what I'm saying? You gorilla,
Yeah.
you monkey, X, Y, and Z. They're texting you. You know, like
Mhm,
on Instagram and stuff like that. So that's more so what you get from Europe a little bit. But I think because you're an athlete and you're known, I think Jonah said this the other day. I know Jonah, that's my boy
yeah.
too. He played for Gala. I played for Gala as well. Once you have that tag, like I played for Fender and Gala, so they know you, like you know what I'm saying. So it's different.
I think that's a good point. Something that I have talked about quite often as well. When you're an athlete, you have a different status.
Mm-hmm.
Like for example, I played in Germany in the first league, and we were in East Germany,
Mm-hmm.
and you could say that there's a lot of racists in East Germany. Um, I never felt that, but I also had the feeling I was the good boy.
Mm-hmm.
I was in the papers. I was, playing sports. As long as we were winning, and
Right.
like you
Yeah.
said,
Yeah.
then things were fine. I personally never had one bad experience in East Germany. I was there for 3 years,
Mm-hmm.
not one.
Yeah.
But um, I definitely had that feeling that if I wasn't 6'8" and I was just a average height black guy walking around the streets, um, maybe I would be treated differently.
No,
I did have that feeling.
for
So
sure.
I I think it depends on where you're at a lot, but I've been living in Europe for 30 years and I haven't had too many bad experiences.
Yeah, yeah. Me neither. Me neither.
So um, how do you stay connected with your family and friends back home while you're globetrotting?
Honestly, Globetrotting, that's funny. Honestly, obviously, just through WhatsApp,
Mm,
through Instagram, they keep up with my games and stuff like
mm,
that. I, but that's about it. I haven't had anybody like come fly out or anything like just yet. But now they're starting to saying think about like, oh, you've been playing for a while,
yeah, yeah.
you might as well come. But yeah, just through Instagram, try to talk to them every other week or
Mm,
something like that. Something does not be too far away. I got to keep up with my nieces and nephews. You know what I'm saying?
right.
Obviously, missing time, missing you know um, big events with them. But yeah,
Okay. So this will be the tie-in to the next part. How do you manage your time between being a professional athlete and you've written a couple of books as well? How do you manage your time to do a little bit of both, or primarily basketball, but also other interests outside of basketball?
yeah. Yeah, for sure. People ask me that all the time, and I think, obviously, like practice is only 2, 3 hours a day. You know what I'm saying? Recovery 4 hours a day, so I still have so much time. And instead of like me just going out spending money, I'm just in the crib trying to. How do I make more money now? How do you like be more
Right,
productive?
right.
How do you make people more productive?
Ain't
So
nothing
it's like
wrong with that.
exactly. So it's like I go to practice, come home, get something to eat, take a shower, get something to eat, and I just start. Let me lock in for 2 hours before I go watch, Netflix or something like that. Like I think for me, I need to have my brain active
Mhm,
throughout the. I don't like to feel like I'm just hanging around. Like I've had years like that but it's post me doing something big, like
mhm,
whether it's with my businesses with the real estate or with the writing. So I think it took me maybe like I think I started in August this past season. In August, I hit up my editor. I was like, "Yo, I think it's time for me to write another book." Then I was finished by December, and but it didn't come out until April because he
right,
was just working through it, and I would
right.
fix it
That's
up a
the
little bit.
writing process. It's never.
Yeah,
I've written two books as well.
no
It's
worries.
never as smooth as you
Nah,
imagine.
and you're sitting there waiting for his email, like for him to come back. I'm like, "Yo, what's wrong?" He's like, "I got different books to work with." But yeah, I think yeah, it's just like I need my brain to be moving or doing something like that. So I think it works for me to
Mhm.
sit there and write. And I like writing. That's another talent of mine. So it's like I'm doing something I enjoy.
Do you have any other hidden talents?
Uh, I mean, I can play the drums. I can
Okay.
Yeah, I can play the drums. I can write, play basketball.
How long you
Um,
been playing the drums? That's not an answer I usually get.
Yeah, yeah. I've been playing the drums. So I'm a pastor's kid, so I was playing the drums like in church. You know what I'm saying? I was
Wow, yeah,
and then when I was hurt, I got back into it. Because I was home a lot,
right.
and it was just good to do that. But I think honestly I'm like one of those people like I kind of good like not everything, but there's certain things I'm like
Mhm,
okay. I don't think talent wise, but I'm
mhm,
just good at that. You know?
mhm. I got you. Okay, now we're going to move into also the author thing. As someone who's written two books as well, I know the process. I know the highs and lows of writing. But your first book is called Godfidence.
Mm,
How have your faith and personal experiences shaped the themes for your writing?
yeah, I think honestly, confidence. The theme of it was pretty much me struggling to, combine my faith in sports because,
Mhm.
like I said, I was a pastor's kid, and then like my
PK.
dad, right, PK, and my dad was helping in the church, so it was like sometimes games would be on Sundays, like AU games, and he was like, "Nah, you can't go." You know what I'm saying? So it was like it felt like I had to pick one, and I chose, in a way, I chose basketball over
Mhm.
that what made me feel like I'm choosing basketball over God, not prioritizing God. So I didn't know how to find balance between the two. So throughout my struggle and just me journaling and stuff, I was like, I feel like there's other people out there who struggle with this as well. So it's like, let me, as an athlete, I have a platform.
Hmm.
People look up to us, and honestly, even with that, I'm also breaking the stereotype that athletes don't do
Hmm.
much outside of just playing. You know what I'm saying? I've like I said, I'm a late bloomer, so most of my life I just was a regular kid. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I'm able to talk to people, different people, and do different stuff. But I wasn't always in the limelight. I wasn't always in this matrix that we have with it as athletes.
Right.
So I think to show a different side of me is me feeling like I get to express myself freely and with no interruptions, like as Brown would say. Yeah,
Good. Um, how long from the idea of writing the book to actually finishing? How long with your first book? How long was that period?
that was more like a 2 year period because that was my first one, so I didn't really
Mhm.
know. So I'm going through Fiverr. I'm going through uh, trying to write it myself. I'm going through, and then I found my editor, and then he finally like put everything together. But it took us like a year and a half, 2 years. Well, it took me a year and a half. When I got to him, it only took us like 6 months. Like he's I would say like once you get it out to him, I want to do this. He's making sure we got to set a date, and then we pushing it out.
Good. Um, what motivated you to write Rehabilitation of a Black Man's Heart? I mean, that's a pretty, not, I don't want to say provocative, but a very thought-provoking title.
Mm-hmm.
And I haven't read it yet, but we'll get to that in a minute.
Mm-hmm.
But what was your thought process behind it?
Honestly, I didn't want to write another book. I think I was after the first book, I was like, yeah, I'm cool on like, you know what I'm saying? It was a cool thing, you know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? But like I said, big on faith, and I felt a tug, you know what I'm saying? I felt like I had to, talk about an experience that shaped who I am right now, because who I am, who I was writing confidence, and who I am then or now is two different people.
Mhm.
And it felt like just within 4 years, I changed like that. And obviously the injury helped with that, where I have so much space and time to, think about, to rethink to rethink what I believe success was, what I believe health meant, in terms of physical, emotional, and mental. And again, I feel like I wanted to bring up the race thing in my first book, but it just wasn't, it wasn't going
Mhm.
together. I feel like I was just going to do too much. And I feel like it kind of was an extension of that, what it meant to be a black man in America, what it meant to be a black man traveling the world, be the first generation type of guy who's learning by doing. You know what I'm saying? I'm doing it, so it's like, how can I give back for the people who haven't been able to even experience it? And I think a lot of um, black men keep themselves in a certain way because they feel like society is telling them to do that. And
Mhm.
I was like, you know what? I feel like at this point, I'm a mental advocate for men, that look just like me. So it's like that's where that book went to, and it's not just for black men, but I feel like I wanted to talk to
Mhm.
black men.
Um, that's interesting because you're 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 reaching outside of the athlete box, right?
Mhm.
That society puts us in, and I love that. What's the core message you hope that readers take away from that book, Rehabilitation of a Black Man's Heart?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is therapy works. I feel like for a black man, you don't have to prove, you don't have to spend most of your time proving to the world that you're successful. Like you've already won by doing your greatest accomplishment that you've done so far, and you said
Mhm.
you get to celebrate that accomplishment because I think one part of the book I said I feel like we don't get to really celebrate our accomplishments because it's on to the next thing because we feel like people are going to minimize those things immediately. So I think going to therapy works for freedom of expression. And
Mhm.
honestly, to feel humble, I would say like at some point in life we're gonna be humbled. Either we humble ourselves or we're gonna be
Mhm.
humbled. And I feel like that a lot of men are stuck there. and they don't free themselves from that. So I think I try to give a blueprint and how my life worked, and help them out in that way.
What is the biggest lesson you learned for yourself by actually writing the books?
The book with both of the books, or just that one?
As far as doing the whole writing process for both books, what have you learned from yourself from actually diving into this?
Um, I mean, I learned a lot. I would say for this last book, that health is wealth. I feel like I used to take it for granted, just being a young kid. I'm just going in the gym and
Right,
just trying to do a 360, trying to,
right.
what I'm saying.
No
I
warm
realized,
up.
right, no warm up, just getting straight to it, like roll the ball out. I think getting into that, the discipline part. I think about myself. I learned that my biggest blind spots were discipline and patience.
Mhm.
And being an athlete, that's if you don't have that, you're all over the place. All over the place. Like when it comes to
Literally.
contract negotiations, when it comes to your growth on a court, when it comes to anything competitive, basketball related.
Mhm.
Those are things. And like I had success early in my career. I got to year league after my 30. I thought I was the man. No, it's gonna, like I said, if you're not gonna humble yourself,
You
life
will
will
be.
humble you. And I believe I got humbled. God was testing me, and I had to answer the call. So I think going through that process, I feel like I realized I'm not invincible. You know what I'm saying? I am a human being. I need help. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
And that's it. And it's like you don't have to always rely on yourself. You can rely on people with the resources, God, especially, and just people who love you. So.
Yeah, that's a dope message. Do you think that this process that you've kind of gone through also has something to do with growing older and wiser? The experiences you've had, the lessons you've learned on and off the court, the lessons you've learned playing overseas. That's also kind of a maturing thing because I can remember how I was with 22 when I first came overseas.
Yeah.
By the time I was 30, that was a completely different person, but it was because of my experiences and then because of maturing age wise as well.
Yeah, but I think honestly, I do believe in individualism, so I feel like it depends on how you're receiving those experiences.
Mhm.
Like it was times where I was receiving it, and there's times where I wasn't receiving it. And when you don't receive it, there's consequences for not receiving it. So
Right.
once I realized I'm not above my consequences, then I'm like, okay, let me. How did like go back? Like this happened. Oh, I missed
Mhm.
this. Oh, I missed this. So like that retrospective type of thing, that's when mature happened. It doesn't
Mhm.
matter about how old I am because
Yeah.
there's so many people older than me that still ain't get it. You know what I'm saying? Like so it's like that. So it's that process. That's how I see it, at least.
Okay, I only got two more questions for you. Number one, where do you see yourself as far as your development? Do you see yourself writing more books, or what do you see yourself kind of possibly going in the direction of after you stop playing basketball?
No, for sure. So pretty much one thing I talk about in the book is that I was out for a year and a half with a foot injury. I actually went to go coach. I went to go coach at the Air Force. I was assistant coach
Mhm.
there. Loved it. Loved to be around young guys who were, hungry to, play the game, and being able to be in that mentor position was really dope for me. And then obviously now be with me like choosing to market my book a certain way. I think it's helping me with the speaking my speaking ability. I
Right,
talk about talk
right.
about one time in the book where I had the speaking engagement after my first one and I blew it. Like I had a I didn't. I mean, I blew it, but it's like I had like a what do you call it? Like a panic attack
Mhm.
during it.
Mhm.
Um, so I think doing these things now is like putting me in a position to be like a mentor, to be a coach, to be um, something of like managing other people or just giving back the knowledge that I've
Good,
accumulated over the years.
good, good. Um, there was something that you said that I just wanted to touch on, and I forgot what it is because I'm old. But my last question is, can we do a book swap?
Shameless plug.
Shameless, turn it upside. Yeah, okay. Shameless publicizing, but that's what this platform is
Right.
for. So let's do a book swap. I'll send you mine. You send me yours.
I got you. Send me
Okay.
your address. I got it.
We'll talk about it after.
Yes,
So, my guy, I really appreciate you coming on and giving light. You dropped some serious gems. I'm gonna have a hard time trying to pick one out for tomorrow's
sir.
for tomorrow's promo. But I really appreciate you coming on and giving insight. And um, this is I say this very often at the interviews. Like, I didn't know you before.
Mm-hmm.
I just wrote to you. I saw that you wrote the book. I said, okay, I want to support in any way I can. And this is the power of the internet in the good way.
Yep.
These kind of situations. And I'm very glad that you decided to get into writing and find an outlet for some creative things that you have going on in your mind,
Mm-hmm.
and not gatekeeping, and um,
Right.
and really sharing that with those who need it. So I appreciate you coming on, man. And I'm gonna hit you up after anyway. I got a couple things I want to hit you up about. And but if I can do anything for you or anybody for what I do in my little world, please don't hesitate. And yeah, man, I appreciate you coming on, and have a good day.
Appreciate it. Thanks for having me, man.
No problem, man. Later.
See you.
So everyone, once again, like I said at the end, oh, I didn't ask him about a suggestion. Damn. I'll hit him up and ask him. So as far as I'm concerned, that was another great one. That's the power of the internet in the good side, that you get to meet people who are doing similar or different things, and really get to know the person behind the athlete. And that's why I do what I do with this segment. So that's it for today. I will be back on Thursday. I've got a really special guest on Thursday. This is going to be a challenging interview also for me, but it's going to be something that I hope in the future I'll look back on and think perfect timing. So I won't say anything more than that, and I hope to see you on Thursday. If not, then I will be 1 week off from Let's Talk, because I'll be in Athens, and the week after that I'll probably have one or two before July, and in July I will be totally off because I'll be on vacation from my school, and I won't be doing anything like this. I'll do my normal stuff, but not Let's Talk for the whole month of July. So thank you for joining, whether you came for the very end. Like, I see a couple just popped up. If you were here for the beginning or right now to the end, I appreciate you. Thank you for watching. Hope to see you soon. Old head out.